of the American Association of University Women, which is locally known as the AAUW. So the AAUW has a long history of sponsoring candidate forums, and we are really pleased to be participating right along, partnering with the GFWC Women's Club. I happen to be a member of both myself. And this is really a special community event. Both of the organizations hosting this forum tonight are nonpartisan. And as such, we do not endorse candidates. The forum is held solely for information purposes. It should be known, though, that all 5 of the candidates running for these 2 seats in the election were invited at the same time to participate in this forum in order to give you, the public, an opportunity to hear them and to receive answers to your questions. As you can see, the 3 candidates on this stage tonight are here and ready for the challenge. The 2 incumbents, however, Commissioner Daniel Williams, who represents Seat 2, and Commissioner Danny Kruger, who represents Seat 4, chose not to participate in this endeavor. We thank the candidates who are here on stage for giving all of you in the audience and those who will listen to the subsequent video of this an opportunity to discover their platforms and to answer your questions live. That is not always a feature of forums, but ours is. We applaud the members of the public as well for being here tonight. We hope you find the time that you're spending here tonight informative, and we hope you find it useful when you cast your vote on April 2nd, and please do cast your vote on April 2nd. So, and I'd like to now at this time introduce our timekeeper, Michelle Bennett, who's a longtime AAUW member. She's there neatly putting her hand up. And our moderator, Jessica Bray, who holds dual membership in both organizations, and she will be introducing the candidates and leading this evening's event. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Juanita. Yeah, I do have membership in both of the organizations, and I'm here as moderator because the Women's Club, here's another commercial, we actually have 5 community service committees that focus in different areas. I chair the Civic Committee, and along with Veterans Affairs and a number of other things, we encourage community participation in the electoral process and getting involved in your government. So this is a great opportunity. I know you had a chance to write your questions. We'll be reading those intermittently. You will absolutely come up. I will follow you around with a microphone. You can't take it from me, but you are welcome to ask questions. So, okay, great. What I'm going to do is I will start by introducing those that probably don't need an introduction because they are all over Lake Wales. However, we're going to start with Carol Gillespie. She's a candidate for Seat 4. Say hi, Carol. Say hi. And Brandon Alvarado. And we have Crystal, your last name is Higby, right?
It's Higby, like Bumblebee.
I'm sorry, Higby. Apologize. All of the candidates did get a letter, and I actually have the whole letter here. I'm not going to read it, but I want to give you the overview of what the format is. They're going to start by giving a 3-minute opening statement, and that's where Charlene comes in very handy. She has a 30-second timer, and she's got a red card. So we're going to stay on it and get you guys out here in time. After that, we've provided them with 5 questions of things that we feel are reflective of a lot of the concerns of the community. So they've had these questions for at least a week, if not longer. So they're all prepared to give their answer to that question, and we'll rotate through. Let's exercise, everybody. We're going to play charades, okay? Go ahead. Ready? Quiet. Hello? Your phone. I have trouble with mine, so please, let's get those phones down. Okay, are we ready? We'll just start right away with Carol. If you'd like to give your opening remarks, please do. You have a microphone there, huh? You can just sit and use that.
Also,
No, you get to relax.
I still want to stand up.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me to speak with you this afternoon. I'm Carol Gillespie. I'm running for seat 4 on the Lake Wales City Commission. I'm a retired attorney, having worked for about 40 years in the legal field of corporate and contract law. I was the general counsel, vice president, and secretary of a pharmaceutical company located in the Miami area, after which I worked as an attorney for the state of Florida, representing indigent parents in dependency court. But in 2013, my husband Gary, to whom I've been married for 48 years, he and I retired, and we decided to move here to Lake Wales, where we live in the community of Lake Ashton. We really like it. We love the scenery around here. We're amazed at the variety of wildlife that we have. The weather's been nice. I mean, it's an ideal place to live. Plus the fact that it's located very centrally in the state. So it's no wonder that a lot of developers want to come here to build their houses. We have thoroughly enjoyed our retirement years here in Lake Wales. But why am I running for City Commission? Because I feel that there are some problems that have arisen that need to be addressed better than they're currently being addressed by our city commissioners. Specifically, Lake Wales is the fastest growing city in Polk County. And Polk County, in turn, is one of the fastest growing counties in the country. So we have a lot of problems that are related to this rapid growth. For example, we have a lot of traffic problems. We have destruction of our natural surroundings to make way for more houses. And we find, too, that we have a limited water supply. There are a lot of other issues, too, that are related to the rapid growth that our city is undergoing. Lake Wales last year developed a plan to manage this growth. And it was developed with a lot of citizen input, and it was done under the guidance of a distinguished firm of city planners. And the plan is called Lake Wales Envisioned. Now I'm getting a notice that I only have 30 seconds, so I'm going to have to cut this kind of short. I fully support this plan. I think if we follow this plan, we can have growth and also maintain our quality of life.
Thank you, Carol. Okay, next we're going to have Brandon Alvarado do his opening statement.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Brandon Alvarado. I'm running for City Commission Seat 2. I've had the privilege of being a lifelong resident of Lake Wales, a very endangered species coming forward. In my previous careers, I've been the Director of Education for the Lake Wales Arts Council. I was also the Music Department Coordinator for Lake Wales High School. A lot of my love for Lake Wales comes from a great institution we have here, the Highlander Band, which I was in high school. I happened to be the drum major of that band. And I got to meet a lot of interesting people in high school who love Lake Wales and they love the history of Lake Wales. And through that, I was able to get involved with the Lake Wales History Museum, where I currently serve as its president. And then I made a decision that it's time to get involved with the city a few years ago. So I joined the Historic District Regulatory Board. And at my second meeting, I was told that, hi, you're the chairman now. So that was a fun thing to get volunteered for. And then I joined the Lake Wales Library Board. So I really believe that service to community is one of the most important pillars of my life. I've always often said that my life is forever in service to my community. And running for Lake Wales City Commission has been something that individuals have told me I should do in the past and get involved in the city in a more direct way. But I've always preferred to do things, behind the scenes, very quietly, just do the good work and keep my head down. But more recently, I've seen some really destructive things happen here in Lake Wales. Unfortunately, we've got a very large pressure of growth coming here. And for a while, the city didn't have a plan on how to do that. Like Ms. Carroll said, we now have the Lake Wales Envision Plan. But it is just that, it is just a plan. That idea of what Lake Wales envisioned is, lives and dies in the City Commission chamber. If we're concerned about growth, but not just growth in the sense that people are going to move here, but just bad development, cookie cutter homes that aren't built well, that are often incredibly overpriced. I'm 27 years old and I'm being priced out of my own community. $300,000 to $400,000 for a home? I don't think so. That's not viable for people my age, or quite frankly, most people. And then we've also got this sprawl and what that does on the taxes and the infrastructure of Lake Wales. And we're not thinking about things like that. So I think when you look at the candidates here on stage, look at the candidates that are here that are 100% behind the vision, but also here to listen to the community, to listen to what y'all have to say. You know, you elect us into office and we want your vote, but often we then forget about you for the next 3 years. My goal is to always be there as someone that can listen to you and hear your ideas. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you, Brenda. Okay, next we have Crystal Higby.
Hello, my name is Crystal Higby. I am the current CEO and president of Circle of Friends Ministry. I sit currently on the Zoning Appeals Board for the City of Lake Wales. I have lived in Lake Wales since 2000. I actually come from a larger city in California, so I'm used to very fast-paced, kind of progressive areas. So Lake Wales was a very nice, relaxing counterpart to where I'm from. I love Lake Wales. I love serving Lake Wales. I've always been an advocate, not only for my family, but for those around me. And the reason I'm running is because I want to be your advocate. I see so many things going on in Lake Wales, from the building, the building up downtown, the parking issues, the traffic. Carol hit it when she was talking about the growth. There are a lot of things to address. The plan is a good plan when it's done, but it has to be managed well. There's something to be said about management. You can have a wonderful plan and poor management, and that plan will become a detriment to the community. So managing the plan well is what's important. So, as Brandon says, he wants to be there for you. I also, again, want to be your advocate. I want to be here regularly for you to talk to, question and answer forums, that sort of thing. Your commissioner should be readily available to you to answer questions.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to the questions that, as I said, had been provided to the candidates a week ago. Okay? First, we'll start with Carol, and then as we go, we'll change who goes first. First question, Carol, the city has a strong focus on economic and business growth. Is this consistent with your vision for Lake Wales?
We need both. Oops. We need both economic and business growth. And I don't think we could have one without the other. We need more jobs, and we also need to build our infrastructure to accommodate all the people who are going to be moving here to take the jobs that we're creating. So those things must go hand in hand, and they must work in harmony to improve the city that we're living in. Also, we must require the developers to pay the impact fees that they're required to pay, and that the city commission has been waiving for them, so that all of these costs of roads and schools and so on for these new developments are going to be borne by the taxpayers. And I'm opposed to that.
Okay, thank you. Brandon, do you want me to read it again, or you're good?
I'll go.
Okay. Ray?
Yeah, so economic and business growth are pretty core to my vision and future for Lake Wales. You know, with a lot of things that comes with different businesses that we have here, I think it's important that we also invest in our local small businesses. Downtowns are a really great example of that. We've got some really great small business entrepreneurs who are really looking for a dedicated patron group, and with that comes individuals living near and around the core of downtown Lake Wales. We've also got to attract a variety of businesses to come to Lake Wales. I know we've got the AES pipe plant that will be here. That's not a kind of a debate anymore, and they'll be providing some jobs. So we have to look at some alternative businesses that might be interested in coming to Lake Wales, whether it be education-based or light manufacturing-based. We just have to recognize that not only do people have to, you know, live in Lake Wales, but they need to have a pretty decent job here in town. So I think it's very important that the city take every effort to look at those measures.
Thank you, Ray. Crystal?
Thank you. So, I definitely see the city's focus on the economic and business growth. You can see that everywhere, and that's not a bad thing. Again, things growing need to be managed well. I will just keep repeating that because that is an absolute truth. The business downtown, I really am focused on the small businesses on my platform. I see several of them I know personally, and the hardships they're going through just hurt my heart. So focusing on what we have and managing what we have now, making sure that they're healthy is going to help other businesses want to come and relocate to Lake Wales. So that's very important, to grow what we have now and make that strong first.
Thank you. Our second question, and we'll start with Brandon on this one, okay? What can the city do to improve its communications with Lake Wales citizens?
All right, well, I wish our incumbents were here to listen to this. When you go to the city commission chamber and you speak in a public comment, it should not feel like a punishment. It should not feel like, wow, I'm going to the principal's office. We need a city commission that's actively listening and paying attention. When you go to city commission meetings, body language says a lot of things. When you have commissioners that are all pouted and sitting here like this, or they're off in la la land, what does that tell you as a citizen? Why come and pay attention to these meetings? We need to communicate with our citizens more accurately when meetings are happening, the times. There's no reason why every city board should not have a live recorded meeting. Every city board, from the library board to the historic board, the planning and zoning board, police, it doesn't matter. Just so people who aren't able to be there in person still have the option to tune in from wherever they are. Minutes are important, but actually being able to sit and listen, I think, is also important.
Thank you. Krista?
So, yes, we definitely need to be there for all of you, each and every one of you. We represent you. We should be available to you. When you email us, we should be getting back to you as soon as we can. We should have forums with our constituents where you can come and speak to us. When we're down on the ground with you in a chair and you're sitting across from us and you're able to say, I'm worried about this. What are we going to do about this? Well, let's see what we can do. And I take your concern back to my fellow commissioners and we talk about what's going on in Lake Wales. We actually take your concerns and we talk about it. And you know that you're being heard because I am there. The city commissioner should be there to sit across from you regularly.
Thank you, Krista. Carol, would you like to answer that question?
Well, I agree that the commission is not adequately transparent at this time. I feel that a lot of that has to do with the way the meetings are scheduled. They have a workshop meeting at which the public is allowed to attend but not to participate. And then when the city commission meets, the public is allowed a 5-minute speech, which our mayor has referred to as a homily. and the commissioners don't have to respond to it. And so there's no interplay, there's no exchange of information, and the citizens don't feel that they're being heard or listened to. I think that we need to change the way those meetings are scheduled, and we need to get the agendas out sooner to the members of the public, and we also need to videotape everything, not just the ones we're currently videotaping, but the planning and zoning board as well.
Thank you. Okay, our next question, we're going to direct this first to Crystal. A report given at a commission workshop projected that Lake Wales will exceed its maximum water supply contract with SWIFMA in 5 years based on our current rate of development. How will you deal with this as a commissioner?
Well, when I read that, it worried me, first and foremost, to hear that in 5 years we would be running out of water. A lot of research would have to be done, let's just put it that way. Let's slow the roll and see what's going on. Let's research what we can do about this and come up with a solution. Take it to our fellow citizens, see if they have any input, and bring that back to your fellow commissioners. And again, research and again, pause. Why continue throwing things on the pile if you cannot take care of what you have? So slow down things and then responsibly keep on building.
Thank you. Brandon?
So I think with SWIFMA and the water situation, a lot of it's going to take multiple municipality and regional partnerships and cooperation to figure out the amount of water consumption that we're doing and also where to get more water from. Whether that's, unfortunately, drilling for more water or finding other alternative methods, people have to, drink water. I think, we can't just put a hard pause on things. As much as we love to do that, just say stop the growth, stop people coming in, people are going to keep coming in. So we just have to find alternative methods. I think really having a strong presence on the regional water boards is important, making sure that Lake Wales voices are represented when those decisions are being made. And if we have to go our own way with water, we have to go our own way. But I do agree we have to do some more research on it, and we just have to reach out to our local, municipal, and regional partners.
Thank you. Carol?
Well, it's my understanding that we were previously in the regional consortium of townships that were trying to find another source of water, but that Lake Wales withdrew for some reason that has not been adequately explained. At least I don't believe that that information is publicly available. Now, the current commissioners may know what's being done to try to find another source of water and why Lake Wales has decided to go alone in this effort. We definitely need to see how we're progressing. As a member of the public, I'm not hearing about that. And we need to we can rejoin the consortium. If our efforts don't work, we can go back to the consortium and see what kind of things they could do to help us out. So we've got to keep track of what's happening, and we need to be more transparent about it.
Thank you. Okay, Brandon, we're going to start with you.
Okay.
And this is question number 4. What is your perspective on the projected growth in population and housing in Lake Wales?
I think the important thing here is for your candidates to be honest with you. Anyone who tells you that they can do a hard stop or that people are going to stop coming to Lake Wales, you can stop development, that's a lie, it's wrong. But what we have to do is we have to be responsible in how we grow, building interconnected, walkable, bikeable communities that are close together and close-knit. Instead of sprawling out this endless subdivision that connects into Orlando and Bartow, we need to infill in the core of Lake Wales with multiple different types of housings. You know, the idea that it just needs to be a 5-acre single-family home is not sustainable, hence the increase in houses. We need to have a variety of housing types, cottage homes, townhomes, ways that people can be able to afford a home to begin with without sprawling endlessly, causing a further infrastructure drain on our city's budget.
Thank you. Carol, why don't you take it next? Changed our rotations.
The current commission has already approved thousands of new homes that will be built in the very near future. There will be a lot of changes going on that will impact all of us, and those are already approved. So there's really not much that we can do about that kind of growth. That growth is starting. The question is, what will happen in the future? Will we be able to follow the Lake Wales Envisioned Plan? If I'm on the commission, I will make this a priority and try to channel our growth into directions that will maintain the beauty and integrity of our city. That's the objective of the Lake Wales Envision Plan, but my opponent has not really supported that plan, and I believe that if I were on the commission, I could assign that a priority. For every project we approve, it has to be consistent with the plan.
Okay, Chris.
So maintaining the integrity and beauty of the city, that is absolutely 100% correct what we need to be doing. And no, you can't ever 100% stop growth unless your city dies. But you can take a second and stop reaching for people to come in if you're about to run out of water while you're researching how we're going to give water to our fellow residents. So no, never would I think that we can hard stop growth, but we could take a time to research what we need to fill our needs for the residents of Lake Wales. But continuing to build responsibly and manage these things well, again, managing well, that's important. And that's important also to keep the integrity and beauty of Lake Wales.
Thank you. Okay, last question. And do we have written questions? Okay, just want to be sure. Okay. The Lake Wales Comprehensive Plan reads, the city shall consider developing a sustainability plan that addresses climate change. Do you support this concept? And if yes, what would you do to drive the development and subsequent implementation of that plan? And Crystal, you should take this one first.
Well, there's a lot of things that can be done to help our planet. I am 100% for making things better for our tomorrow, for our children, our grandchildren. My son actually was serving in Japan, and he was telling me a few things they do over there, from having sinks over the back of their water toilets. And you can talk to developers and see if they can put these water-saving plans into their housing, the way they build their houses. There's a lot of different areas you can get to conserve when you're growing. But it's important to think about all areas of conservation, and building your housing is just one of those areas.
Thank you. Carol, would you like to answer this question?
Yes, I think we definitely need a sustainability plan. We should start immediately by appointing a committee to work on that, a dedicated committee who would be looking at sustainability measures that we could take. There are a few measures that we could take that would reduce the energy requirements of the city, such as retrofitting our current buildings to make them more energy efficient, such as putting electric vehicle charging stations in the parking lots, such as putting solar panels on the roofs of our civic buildings. A lot of small steps that we could take, and these steps would actually reduce our expenses. They would save us money, and they would improve the health of our citizens, and at the same time, they would be a good contribution to the the changes that we're seeing in the planet.
Thank you. Brandon, you can finish this up.
Yeah, so when we look at all those things that we've just talked about, it comes down to our building codes as well, ensuring that our codes are up to date so that developers are required to build more efficient buildings. Another thing also comes down to Lakeville's vision is ensuring that the big green network plan actually gets implemented, an interconnected system of waterways and green spaces, not only that are just public parks, but are also available for wildlife spaces. You know, when we build over everything, we pave over everything, that's gone. You can't get that back. So it's important that we're working with local landowners, like the Freelanders, who have turned over their land for conservation, really investing in conservation here in town to ensure that this key portion of Lake Wales' vision, the Big Green Network, actually happens. Because once you build over it, you don't get it back.
Thank you. Okay, that's the end of the portion that is going to be for the prepared questions. I do have some written questions. If you are interested in coming up and ask questions, I am going to come down here and I'll be able to, Wendy, can you just grab this for a second? Well, let me do this first. This is to Crystal. Our mayor has endorsed commission candidates from the pulpit of his church. Do you think this is appropriate, yes or no?
I'm sorry, read that, can I get one more time?
It says, our mayor has endorsed commission candidates from the pulpit of his church. Do you think this is appropriate, yes or no?
I can't speak to what the mayor has or has not done. I can only speak to churches supposed to, we're supposed to be nonpartisan as a church, so that's all I can say about that. I don't know anything about that.
Okay, but does anybody else want to comment on it? Go ahead.
I believe that a pastor endorsing a candidate from his pulpit is a violation of the separation of church and state that's embodied in our Constitution. The church should stay out of politics, and we should not institute a religion like some are urging us to do. The two, I think the firmer the wall, the better the government and the church will be.
So it was a yes or no question, right?
Yeah?
No.
That's good. Okay, we got a lot of concerns about water, and rightfully so. Every new residence we build increases the amount of water Lake Wales requires. New water sources are very expensive. Each drop of this new water adds to the cost of all our water. Please talk about your understanding and concern about water. And Carol, so will you?
Well, this is, I think, repeats the question we already had. We're running out of water. We know that we're running out of water. We need to make this a priority to identify some source of water because we all expect to live here for certainly longer than 5 years. And I think that whatever we can do to get drinkable, usable water and to increase our supply of that water, we've got to do it.
Brenda?
So again, I think a lot of it comes down to, oh, there we go. I think it comes down to Lake Wales' vision again with the Big Green Network. You know, Lake Wales, we're having some difficulties, there we go, is the headwaters of the Everglades. So it's incredibly important that we protect and conserve our natural resources, whether that be the Kissimmee River, Lake Kissimmee, Peace River, Peace Creek, those waterways that feed into not just the Everglades, but also our aquifer system. And if we continue to pave over everything and sprawl outwards and invade those natural spaces, we, not only from an infrastructure standpoint, but just from a conservation standpoint, we continue to limit the amount of water that is penetrating our ground and to refresh our aquifer system. And then again, it comes down to building codes as well, ensuring that we're building homes and retrofitting buildings to be more energy and water efficient as well.
Great. Crystal?
So I definitely would like to look into our water, who's using it, if it's just like Wells residents using our water, or our water is used by other cities. And if our water is being used by other cities, we would want to get down to the bottom of why, and should they be using their own water? Because if other people are using our water, that would obviously make it go a little bit quicker. So that's one of the things I would want to research. Another one is, where would another well be dug? Where in Lake Wells would that happen? Where we would get our excess water supply or other water supply? There's a few different things. Also, like Brandon said, the retrofitting of the buildings, the water, conservation through that sort of thing is also important. And it can be done. It's being done in different parts of the world. And again, it is important to implement those things. They work.
Thank you. This one's different. And it's to anyone, so I'll let you decide who'd like to answer first. If and when the city gets the Wales Hotel back, what would be your position of what should be done with the property?
Oh, yeah, I think it's really exciting that we might have a place in the middle of our downtown that would attract people, that it could be turned into a night spot, have restaurants in there, as well as hotel rooms. I think it should be upgraded so that it could be like the diamond of downtown, and it'll attract people to our downtown area who will then patronize the restaurants and shops that we have downtown.
Thank you. Crystal, do you want to comment?
So, the Wells built hotel, there could be, there's several possibilities for that spot. And I, again, would go to the residents of Lake Wells and see where their heartbeat is for what they would like done with that building. It comes attached with a lot of backstories. There's a lot of heartache involved with that hotel, as well as good memories. So, again, I want the heartbeat of the city to see where the future of Wells built is.
Thank you. Brendan?
Talk about an economic driver for downtown Lake Wales. Until we're actually able to infill and get residents living, a significant amount of residents living in downtown, talk about a way to get a revolving door of people that, again, are patrons of our downtown restaurants and shops, people that are here to visit Lake Wales. I think returning it back to what it should be, a hotel, a crown jewel for our downtown. And not just from its historic and architectural significance. That building is beautiful. It dominates the skyline. There's only one other more famous landmark in Lake Wales, and that's Bob Tower. So to restore that and turn it away from being such a negative drag on the city from a public perception, but something that we as citizens can be proud of. That, wow, we were able to take this hotel, get it to the right developer, restore it, reopen it, and now we have a true economic driver in downtown Lake Wales to sustain those small businesses down there.
Thank you. Last written question that I have, and Carol, I'll direct this to you first. As it stands now, only Christian-based pastors are being chosen to give the invocation at commission meeting. Would you be in favor of expanding the list to include invocations of other faiths and philosophical beliefs?
Well, I'd have to, okay, I know that there's a bit of controversy about this. I don't see why, if we're going to have an invocation, why it doesn't include all beliefs. Anyone who's able to say something inspirational, something that would be thought-provoking enough to give people a direction. When you open the meeting, you want something that's going to really add to the success of that meeting. And so, if there are humanists or Buddhists or Muslims, whoever wants to give an invocation and whoever steps forth should be allowed to do so.
Thank you. Brandon, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, so I think the way that change was done was originally intended for multiple faiths to have the opportunity to give the invocation here in Lake Wales, and I would strongly encourage and support that multiple faiths give the invocation here in Lake Wales. Again, my personal religious beliefs don't dictate y'all's religious beliefs or non-religious beliefs. I think, when you're up on that city commission chamber, diocese, you're representing every citizen in Lake Wales, whether they be Christian, Muslim, Hindu, atheist, doesn't matter what they are. You're meant to sit there and be a voice for all of them. So we should have an opportunity for them to be heard here in town.
Thank you. Crystal?
I had a good example of this by my good friend, Mr. Gibson, who exercised his right to leave a meeting when he didn't feel comfortable. I believe once you open that door, you've opened it. So each commissioner has the right to stay and listen or leave. So I'm not adverse to just exercising your right to stay or to go or to listen, or, that door's open, it's open.
All right, we have one more question here. It says, how will you make sure the city commissioners serve North Lake Wales, South Lake Wales, and West Lake Wales instead of just downtown? Brandon, you want to start that one?
Is it in reference to, is it more of a northwest section dictated question, or is it entirely what?
No, it looks like they're talking about, that it looks as though they're saying commissions very focused on downtown and on the core, but they want to be sure that North Lake Wales, South Lake Wales, and West Lake Wales are equally represented.
So I think with this we have to take a very holistic approach in the way that we're looking at our city. Downtown is the focus, but that doesn't mean we can't concurrently do projects up in the northwest section, like improving Lincoln Avenue and stimulating business down there. We're also seeing growth on the edges of the city as well. While downtown I know is everyone's focus, it's where everyone goes to, that doesn't mean that we can't, again, at the same time, work on other projects that represent all of Lake Wales. With a lot of these new developments we're seeing that being built on the edges of town. I think, again, looking at the way those developments are being built and where those community centers are, and stimulating business activity there, recreational activity. We can do this holistically. We don't have to be single-minded and focus on just one thing. We have the ability and we have the staff that are capable enough to look at our whole picture of what all of Lake Wales needs.
Thank you. Crystal, next.
You do this by keeping your pulse on your city residents. You go and you go where they're at. You ask what's going on, you look what's going on, you be part of what's going on. That's how you continue to serve the residents of Lake Wales. You don't know what they need if you do not regularly go and visit their places they reside at. If you don't drive down their streets, you don't see the potholes. If you don't visit their parks, you don't see dilapidated equipment. You need to be part of your city, and you cannot serve the residents well if you are not going where they are. So that's how I would serve all of Lake Wales, is by actively being part of the community and taking your pulse regularly.
Thank you. Carol?
Well, I agree with what Crystal is saying. Contact is very important. I personally am living in one of these fringe communities, and of course those communities have their own structure. So I think that if the commissioners can attend some of the events at these communities, that they'll be able to understand more what the concerns of the citizens are. That's what we have to do. We have to stay in touch with all parts of the city, not just the downtown area.
Okay, thank you. Question, how will you personally make Lake Wales a welcoming city to all our new arrivals, whether Spanish-speaking, Haitian, Creole-speaking, English-speaking? Carol, want to start that? You want me to read that again?
Yeah, read it again.
Okay. How will you personally make Lake Wales a welcoming city to all our new arrivals, whether Spanish, Haitian Creole speaking, or English speaking?
Hablo poquito español, pues puedo hablar con los hispánicos, but I think it is important that we have multilingual presentations. For example, when we have an issue before the commission that has been put on the agenda, then the agenda needs to be translated for the Spanish speakers in the group. But of course, are we going to then have it translated for the Haitians and the French speakers and all of the other languages? I think that might be a little bit beyond what we can possibly do. So I would favor reaching out to the new residents and finding out who needs to have the proceedings translated for them, and obtain a speaker of that language so that they could participate in the meetings.
Thank you. Crystal?
Again, I would definitely go and visit the newcomers and see what they need, what resources they need, and how the city could meet their needs. See what resources we have available. It's a great way to get to know your city and what areas it still needs to grow and what areas it's strong in. So if you have a new Haitian downtown, you want to go reach out to, see what specific needs the new Haitian has, see if we have resources or if we need to go find or build or, bring those resources here for our new Haitian residents. So that's just an example.
Thank you.
So for our new arrivals, I think one of the most important things you can do is, first and foremost, letting them know that their city government and their city works for them. It's not the other way around. We are here to serve you. You are not here to serve us. Another thing I believe we can do is we can make sure that the homes that they're moving into, their communities, are well maintained and well taken care of. Again, I really believe as we are going to experience a lot of new arrivals coming to Lake Wales, it's important to ensure that the communities in which they're moving into are well built, well maintained, walkable, bikeable, connected to the rest of the city. Not just something where you live in your enclave and you stay in a certain area, where you feel welcome to all of Lake Wales, that you can walk down any street here in town and feel safe and invited. Not that, I can't go to that part of town because that's only where that individual group of people go. I think that's important.
Thank you. What this one?
Hello? What are your thoughts on our mall, and will you help support all the businesses there?
Who started last one? I'm sorry. Carol started.
I didn't understand the question.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on our mall, the mall, and will you help support all of the businesses there? Eagle Ridge Mall.
I didn't understand.
Would you like to answer that?
Well, on the spur of the moment, yes, I like what they are planning to do to Eagle Ridge Mall. If you read the Lake Wales Envision Plan, it's going to be repurposed so that it has, I believe it's going to have medical offices in there and other professional offices. It will not stay as a shopping center. And I think that was well thought out. They're going to use, and the other thing is, it has that huge parking lot that is also available for building if we can plan it that way. If we can get more buildings in there, we will not have all of that area that absorbs the heat and makes the climate environment a lot worse.
Brandon, would you like to share some thoughts?
So I particularly like Nick's and the mall, the suit store. That's one of my favorite places to go. When you look at the Lake Wales Envision Plan and you look at the ideas for the mall, what it really comes down to is when malls were built predominantly, the parking lot was built for one day, Black Friday. And we know now that the idea of Black Friday and going out and having, thousands of cars in the mall for one day is unsustainable. So we've got all that dead space there. The Lake Wales Envision Plan provides an opportunity to infill that dead space with multi-use homes and businesses, which will help support the businesses that are at the core of the mall, like the movie theater, all the different individuals and things there. That parking lot is a wealth of potential for what the future of Lake Wales can be, and rethinking the ideas for the mall. The individuals that say tear the mall down, it's a dead business, that's not appropriate. Let's do adaptive reuse and find a purpose for that dead space around it so we can support the businesses in the core.
Okay? Crystal?
Yeah, so repurposing. The mall is being managed to where they are repurposing. They're thinking about new businesses. They're drawing in different clients. And I like to see the new businesses coming to the mall. And I like to see the changes that are going on there. And it's interesting to watch it be built. There's a new, there's a barbershop school in there now. There's a unicorn store that my granddaughter just loves to go to the unicorn store. And inflatables. There's all kinds of things to do in the mall. It's just how they're drawing businesses or people down to the businesses. It's all about, well, it's not all about, it's a lot about marketing and managing. But repurposing, yes, there's some areas that need to be repurposed, but it's on the rise now. So I'm an interested passenger watching how the mall develops.
This question is for you, Crystal. I'm not sure I'm understanding it, but maybe you will. It says, it's to you, we've had 2 commissioners named Gibson. Which Gibson was the one that walked out of the meeting? Is that a change? We would like that clear.
Well, he chose to exercise his rights. It's not to be part of something that made him uncomfortable. So, and that's part of, I'm sure it's public knowledge, was Curtis Gibson.
Oh, okay. Again, I really, I'm somewhere else, I guess. Right, so the answer is it was Curtis Gibson that walked out of the meeting. Okay. Who was one that was a little more obvious that I'm an engineer. What ideas do you have to use the city's resources to highlight our students' math, science, and technology achievements? We have some of the best in the state. Who would like to answer that one first? So it's about, it looks like it's about.
I'll jump on it. I think that proclamations are somewhat useful, and certainly in recognizing these achievements, we could issue proclamations that would honor the students who have received awards and who are really the future of our city. I don't believe that the current commission is using proclamations properly. They're using proclamations to punish the segments of the community that they don't want to have active in the government, and that's not what they're for. They should be to recognize achievement when it occurs, and to make it clear that what the students, what these the firefighters, other people who get proclamations, make it clear that they have achieved something significant.
Thank you. Brandon, you want to comment on that? Do you want me to read the question again, or?
Please do.
Okay, yeah. It says, what ideas do you have to use the city's resources to highlight our students' math, science, and technology achievements? We have some of the best in the state.
So that's hello. There we go. So that's both STEM. I would encourage that we add an A in there for STEAM. We cannot, being a musician myself, are performing and visual arts students. I think that revolves around continued partnerships with the Polk County Public Schools and Lake Wales charter schools, getting our students involved in what's going on here in the city. The charter schools and public schools do a really good job of encouraging job fairs and college fairs. I agree with Carol. Proclamations aren't a bad way of doing it, but also just being present in their schools themselves, attending the various morning meetings, the academic club meetings, ways that they can show that, hey, what they're doing now, their city government officials actually care and want to be involved in their education process.
Thank you. Crystal?
So using city resources to recognize those students that are highly achieving in math and English. But okay. So I don't know if we have scholarships already set, the city commission. If we do not, we should. We should definitely have some scholarships set up for those that are achieving and high achieving in certain areas, help them get into good colleges of their choice. Also, career days are also very, very high on the list for things to keep going, and small business owners allowing, maybe taking up the case for some of these high achievers to help fund them for college as well. And there's a lot of different resources and things we can do for those high achievers to help them get to their next stage in life.
Thank you. Thank you. Currently, most, if not all, of our LGBTQ youth leave the city and never return, even some of our most outstanding students. What would you do to make it possible for these family members to make a life here? Crystal?
You love them. You love them. Human beings, you love them. And you do for them like you do for everybody else. And don't make anybody feel like they're an outcast or unwanted. That's what you do.
Thank you.
I would add on that you make the community open and welcome for all individuals. You know, we might disagree, but you treat everyone as a human. You treat everyone with respect and decency. And when you have individuals in our city that are attacking others and making their communities feel like you don't belong here, we've already lost. You know, we lose our youth, a town dies. And if there's a large portion of our youth in our city that believe that Lake Wales is not meant for them, that they're not welcomed here in Lake Wales, that's a problem. So again, meeting them at their level and seeing them as humans, that they are who they are, loving them, but also respecting them.
Okay. Jen, comment?
Well, I would add that I think there's a real problem when we have a commissioner, the mayor, in fact, was very proud that he did not approve the Gay Pride Proclamation this year. And that's an attitude that has to be eliminated from the commission. The commissioners set an example. And if they're going to stand up and say, oh, we're not going to have a Gay Pride Proclamation this year, why? Because you're against gay people. That's clearly the message that he sends. And how could an LGBTQ youth possibly feel welcome in a city like that? You need a new commissioner. Unfortunately, the mayor's not up for re-election this time, but the other commissioners who follow along with what he wants should also be eliminated from the commission.
Does anybody want to ask a direct question? Do you want me to come down?
One of the things that I noticed today was that I had to be at an automobile place in order to get my car repaired. One of the things that I noticed is that they were installing solar panels on their roof. Now, I don't think a business is going to install solar panels if they are not worth anything. Obviously, they're seeing benefit of having the solar panel to help the city, to help themselves, and to reduce their costs. So I think the city should take notice of that and do something similar. If a business can do it and see the benefit, I would think the city could too.
Thank you. Any comments? Or just not?
Well, we've already discussed our position on the sustainability plan, and I think that's going to be part of it.
Okay.
That there will certainly be solar panels on civic buildings, and a number of other measures that will have to be considered. We're going to have a committee on sustainability that will prioritize all of these projects and determine which ones should be done first, second, third, and so on, and how much savings we will realize so that we can continue and expand that program.
Thank you. Anyone else like to ask a question directly? Eddie? Yeah.
I've been talking to people who are, and myself too, concerned about all the new growth and cost of living, cost of housing going way up. And I wonder what the commission can do to protect folks who just can't afford the rising prices.
Listen, housing, you got me with housing. I got a whole group of people that are one rent hike away from being homeless. So housing is definitely where my heart is at. The growth is causing an issue. We could repurpose a lot of these empty buildings for housing. We can keep the costs low if we repurpose some of these already empty places. So we just have to rethink things. We have to just take the pulse of the community and rethink how we're doing things and have it make sense. Redo it the way it makes sense to where we can put people in buildings and keep the costs low and keep building the community and manage it very, very wisely.
Thank you.
Most important things we can do is we can stand up to predatory developers that are looking at our community. At a recent city commission meeting, it might have been, well, maybe not that recent, there was a developer who fully believed, of all intents and purposes, that a $300,000 to $400,000 home was affordable. So you can see where the developer's mindset is. The city commission needs, again, take the pulse of the citizens, but also recognize we have a lot of underutilized land here in the core of town that can be turned into multi-use homes. Again, the idea that everyone needs 5 acres in a single-family home, we are pricing people out of homes. We need to build a variety of housing types here in town for where everyone is at whatever stage of life they're at. Whether they're just at a university, they're getting their first job, looking to rent. That's what we need to be doing, is infilling in our core communities with a variety of housing types and a variety level of affordability, and not letting developers come to Lake Wales and dictate to us how we need to build our community.
Carol, did you have any comment?
Yes, I would agree that the problem is that the cost of housing is going up everywhere, and it is going up in Lake Wales too. And people's incomes are not going up at the same rate. And so we're going to have a lot of people who can't afford a new home. The Lake Wales Connected Plan includes a requirement that there be subsidies for low-income families that cannot afford a house. And they're requiring developers to price their houses so that, they're requiring the city to give subsidies so that the price of a house will not exceed for them, I believe it's 120% of the average wage. That's what we have to do, is somehow connect affordability with the wages of people in our city and try to make them synchronize.
Thank you. Any others?
So a lot of us do believe in building. We believe in trying to have affordable housing. parks. I'm talking about our little like Alta Park, that some of us think that there has to be a little more discretion used in how these things are determined, and a little bit more, but anyway, some of us are concerned about giving away city property to incentivize developers in that way because we value our city parks.
Thoughts?
Yes, we need to take care of what we have first. We have property, we have empty buildings, we have places we can go to turn into housing for low-income housing for people, and we can manage what we have and do it well. We just have to rethink things. Giving away parks when it's unnecessary, giving away land that is part of conservation, our beautiful city. Yeah, there needs to be some time to consider different alternatives when it's coming down to giving parks away.
Yeah, I don't think we should be giving parks away or incentivizing park or conservation land for development. I think a lot of this comes down to transparency of these meetings, when they're happening, where they're happening, are they recorded and not. So we know where the decisions are being made, when the decisions are being made, and also who are making the decisions in town. I agree, yeah, we can reuse other buildings, and we can incentivize other pieces of land that aren't impacting parks or conservation. So yeah.
I don't see why we're incentivizing developers at all. We are besieged with developers wanting to do projects in the city. And I think the problem is that we're giving things away that we wouldn't have to give away. Now, granted, I haven't been on the front lines. I don't know what kind of negotiations happen with these developers, and I know the city wants new development. We need it in order to grow our tax base and keep the city financially sound. But I think that giving away, the waiving impact fees or giving away parks or any of those really over the top, I would say, measures should not be done.
Thank you.
I hope I get this right, but currently the center of Lake Wales has a number of developed parks that are owned by the city. And the north of Lake Wales, I think, has maybe one. South Lake Wales doesn't have any. And currently the only plans to add parks to South Lake Wales is by making them parts of HOAs, where essentially you are supposed to be a resident to use them. What would you do to invest in more city-owned parks in the north of town and the south of town?
Your question, I agree with what a lot of you said. It comes down to almost something that Crystal has been saying. We love to buy new things. We love to invest in new things. We love to go to a ribbon cutting ceremony. But once that's over, we kind of forget about maintenance and taking care of what we currently have. So, I mean, I agree. Lake Alta is a good example of a public park that is supposed to be maintained by an HOA. I don't agree with that. But as we look at expand and invest, we also have to take care of and maintain what we have now. We have dilapidated playground equipment in our current parks. I don't believe that incentivizes us to go and buy land we can buy land and keep it away for a park, but not go outright and build a new park itself. Again, I think it comes down to, yeah, you own the land for future ideas and purposes for walkability and connectability, but maintain what we already have now to the highest standard.
Thank you. Any other comments or thoughts?
I can't improve on that.
Okay. You said ditto, huh?
He is right. Barney's Dreamland is one good piece of evidence of a dilapidated park that was meant for such a good purpose. And it's just a sad sight. But I do believe all children should have the ability to go to a park. So again, being there for your residents in all areas of the city, that's important. We could maybe find a way to save some money aside or write a grant to build a park on the side that does not have a park. Because I do believe every child should have a playground accessible to them. There doesn't need to be 5 playgrounds within 2 blocks. But one playground, a certain section of town that there's not one available. I think that's reasonable to ask of your city. So finding a way to make that happen is, that's something that should be looked into.
Thank you. Carol,
I'd like to just add one thing. The city acquired this YMCA building last year, and it has a beautiful swimming pool. There are a lot of children in Lake Wales that don't have access to a swimming pool, but they also are not able to get up on the hill where the YMCA is located. So I think one of the things we need to do is to look into our transportation arrangements and make it easier for people specifically the Northwest community to access the facilities that we do have.
okay, thank you. Any other? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Can you hear you?
You're doing such a good job with your signs, Melanie.
Give me that sign so I can stop you.
I want to ask a question about protocol at city commission meetings. If you notice, the agenda is always made by the staff, and and very seldom does any commissioner ever seem to be involved in agenda.
We're trying to stop you from howling.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Oh, it's that bad. All right. So, commissioners can't talk to each other except at a meeting. Okay. Commissioners can't talk to each other. Yeah. Commissioners can't talk to each other except at a meeting. What could be changed, do you think, so that commissioners could really initiate plans rather than just voting on whatever happens to come in front of them? I mean, you've talked about sustainability and affordable housing, several things that don't ever come up at commission meetings. How do you make them come up?
You want to start? I'm not trying to put you on the spot. You look like you had something.
No, I was just thinking of I know that does make things difficult knowing that you can only communicate certain ways about, with your fellow commissioners, so that would definitely make things a little, sticky. But there are still ways to communicate, whether it's maybe holding more meetings or finding a way to hold more meetings with each other, in a different type of forum. I don't know, I mean, there's gotta be a way to rethink this and reset it and make things better.
So of course, when you're a city commissioner, more than one city commissioner in the same room talking about city business is a violation of the Sunshine Law, and I would like to not go to jail or get fined very heavily or incur any fines or penalties against my other commissioners. So, the workshops are that great opportunity, but I also believe, we have to hold our city manager accountable to whatever we do and set forth. I do think when we are in those workshops, maybe we do need to increase that public, following sunshine standards and laws, those types of meetings, so we can express our opinions a little more, but also to do more follow-up with staff, continue to hold our city manager accountable. If the city commission sets a policy and wants it done, I would expect our city manager or city attorney to regularly report on that and what they're doing with the public dollars for them.
Every city in Florida operates under the sunshine laws, and they've found ways of doing that. So if we can't come up with something better than what we have, which I think we agree is not working, certainly for the members of the public it's not working, why don't we do a survey of what other cities do and how they manage to comply with the sunshine law and still provide information to the members of the public and an opportunity to discuss their views.
Okay, we're going to go to closing remarks. Was it 1 minute? I don't have my paper. What are we allowed? Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't sit there. All right, at this point, each candidate has 1 minute to do closing remarks. And Carol, let's start with you, go right down the table.
Well, I certainly do appreciate the attention that you've paid today, and we've had some interesting exchanges. I'm particularly disappointed that my opponent was not here. I think that it indicates, I think, a lack of willingness to interact with members of the public, which is what we do here at these forums. And so I would say he's part of the problem. He's following everything the mayor does. He's going along with the developers on all of these fee waivers and park giveaways. He's really not acting in the interest of the people. And I would be a voice for you and for the other communities around us that we serve here to try to maintain the to try to get more interaction and maintain the, okay, I've hit the stop button. I just want to point, I'm going to point out, I'm going to violate, okay, arrest me if you want, but I have a website that I want to refer you to. It's called carolgillespiecampaign.com, and it has ways on it that you can donate to my campaign or volunteer for my campaign, and I urge you to go there. Thank you.
Thank you. Brandon, you can have 1 minute and 15 seconds.
Thank you so much for the generosity. I want to thank you all for taking the time to come out tonight and listen to the three of us speak. I'll agree with Carol. I'm disappointed that Daniel and Danny were not able to be here tonight. I think that shows their lack of interest in wanting to engage with the public. But I also believe, we exchanged a lot of great ideas here tonight. There are some differences between myself and my opponent, but I believe what we need now is we need to change on the city commission of 2 seats. It takes 3 votes to get anything passed and done here in Lake Wales. And if you're a true believer in Lake Wales Connected and Lake Wales Envision, those plans, which are drafts most of the time, those live and die in the city commission chamber. So if you're concerned about overgrowth, if you're concerned about water, if you're concerned about the environment or the way citizens are being treated, I highly encourage you to vote for me on April 2nd. If you're not registered to vote by mail, I encourage you to do that as well. Ballots begin to get mailed out tomorrow. The deadline to register is March 21st. I'd also encourage you to visit www.votebrandonalvarado.com. You've got a voter resources page on there for y'all to look up, along with my priorities, ways to donate and get involved. Visit me on Facebook and Instagram as well. But I want to thank you guys for coming out and taking the time out of your day to listen to us.
Thank you. Crystal?
Yes, thank you for having us up here, and I don't need to point out the obvious about who is and is not here, because people often don't say that. I do want to ask that you vote for me on April 2nd. I will be an advocate for you. I will listen to you. I will listen to you and take what you say seriously. You will feel heard. I don't have an active website for my campaign. It is a grassroots thing. It is people know me. They know that if I give my word, I keep it. I walk with integrity, and I plan on doing that for you as well.
Thank you. I just want to, as a point of protocol, welcome Commissioner Robin Gibson here, and we appreciate you coming and listening to the people unfiltered. We need power, right? That does conclude the program for the evening. Somebody's pointing at me. Oh, well, certainly. I do want to thank the candidates. I know we've been belaboring a little bit of stuff, but a willingness to come face your potential constituents and listen and be challenged, keep your cool, do a good job. We're very pleased, and we appreciate that it's respect for us as female groups in the city that you've come here. So thank you so much, and thank you, audience, for coming and supporting us.